Get to college athletics, got a story to tell. Coach Wilson on the mic, making dreams swell. From 7 miles in the D to athletes worldwide, talking journey, struggles, hustle, and pride. Get to college athletics, yeah, you be making it known. Every journey, every climb, they're never alone. Coach Wilson in the chair, straight from Detroit streets, bringing that 7-mile fire, no defeat. He's got athletes talking about the.
Greetings and welcome in to episode 11. We are here with Ava Vickers. She is a University of Indiana volleyball player. Ava, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
No, thank you for coming on. I know you're extremely busy, so we really do appreciate you taking the time. We have a lot of student athletes that are trying to get to where you are, so we really do appreciate you giving us some feedback here.
Yeah, of course.
All right, so let's get started with some background. Where are you from?
Okay, so I'm from Fishers, Indiana, which is about an hour and 15 from IU, which is where I go to college. So I'm decently close to my hometown, which I personally really like, that I'm close to family still.
Okay, and do you have any siblings or?
Yes. So I have one older brother, and he was actually a senior here at IU when I was a freshman. So it was nice having like 1 year of us at the same school together. And him and I are pretty close. We're very different in aspects of he's not really into sports at all, and I am, and he's really into music, and I'm not that into like music. So we're really bond over our differences. But now he has a job down in Fisher, so I'm still pretty tight with him. So whenever I get to see him over holidays, it's always awesome.
Right. So I guess your family, they don't miss too many volleyball games, I would take it.
No, they do not, which is another reason why it's amazing being so close to them, is because, I mean, growing up, like, my parents, especially my grandparents, so both sets of my grandparents, my mom's parents and my dad's parents, they're always tried to come to as many of my, like, high school games and my club tournaments. And so it's awesome because I'd probably say all my home games here at IU, both sets of grandparents try to come down and my parents come down. So it's been so awesome having that big of a support system here in Indiana at my games.
Oh wow, man, that sounds awesome. It really does. Great
Oh
to have a
yeah,
support
it's the best.
system. Right. To see
Yes,
familiar
they're the
faces in the
best.
stands. Yeah. All right.
Oh
So
yeah.
let's talk about growing up. Did you play any other sports besides volleyball?
Yeah, so I played, oh gosh, when I was younger, I was a kid that was probably tried every sport. I remember I did I did like dance, gymnastics, lacrosse. I tried cheer. That only lasted 1 day though. I had one practice of cheer and I was like, this is not for me. Dance probably lasted about a year. So I was in and out of a lot of sports. One sport that I did that was like my main sport kind of all growing up was basketball. And that's a lot of it's because, I mean, my brother, when he was younger, he played. He's pretty tall. So he played. My dad played. So he kind of got me into it. I feel like when you're a relatively tall girl, when you're younger, like and it's kind of common for parents just to throw you into a sport like basketball or volleyball just because the height thing. So I started with that, and then I want to say I picked up volleyball. I don't want to say a little bit later, but I played like some like little intramural league when maybe I was a little bit before like elementary school, and then middle school is when I started taking it a little bit more seriously and like played club volleyball.
Okay.
And so I was playing basketball and volleyball for a while, and I loved both. And then I think right before high school, I decided that I want to just stick to volleyball.
And I noticed you said a couple times that you're pretty tall. So how tall are you
Yeah.
now?
I'm with shoes on, I'd say 6 foot. I
Okay.
usually stay with shoes on. So, I mean, when I was younger, I was a lot taller, but I mean, compared to how tall some of the girls are in Big Ten volleyball now, I'm not anywhere as close as tall as them, but, I was definitely one of the taller ones growing up though, for sure.
Right. And what position are you?
I'm a middle blocker.
Okay. Okay. And when did you go full time with volleyball, when you locked into volleyball?
I think it was my 8th grade year, and I think I honestly was wanted to play basketball and volleyball like at my high school, but the problem was like the way that the seasons kind of interlapped, and it was going into high school. I also made a change in my club that I was playing at to a lot more competitive and serious club, and
Okay.
I would have had to miss some of those practices to be able to be on my high school basketball team. And I just decided in that moment that I want to give 100% to a sport that I see myself playing in college. And so I think it was right before my freshman year of high school that I made that decision.
Okay, so through high school, you played for a club and you played for your high school team.
Yes, yes.
Okay, and did you go to a big high school, small high school? How did that work?
Yeah, my high school was a pretty big high school. I think my class was about a little over 900 people in my class.
Oh, wow.
Um, yeah, so it's kind of crazy because like ever since I got to college here, I've been talking to girls and they're like, oh, like we only had 400 people in my class. So I never really understood how big my school was until I got here, if I'm being honest with you.
Right.
So I went to a pretty big high school. I yeah, it's kind of like the high school. I went to the high school that my middle school kind of fed into. So a lot of girls in my volleyball team were girls that I played with like in my seventh and eighth grade middle school team, which was really neat.
Right. So you played, I would assume, other big schools. So you played at the highest level in high school?
Yes, yeah, I would say just because of the other big schools that were in kind of our conference, it was definitely probably the highest level of volleyball high school wise in the state of Indiana.
Right. And so now just want to talk about club a little bit here so you obviously played some club and was club more competitive or was it about the same?
Yeah, so club was definitely more competitive for me. And I feel like that's kind of, I don't know how it is with other sports, but I feel like for volleyball, a lot of times it is because I mean, I, like the club I ended up changing to go to I think it was my sophomore year, the summer before my sophomore year of high school. I switched to this club that was about a little over 45 minutes away from where I lived. And so that club was super competitive club. And we had girls, like there was a couple girls on my team that traveled over 2 hours every other night to be on the team that I was on. Which it was,
Wow.
I didn't really understand like how competitive of a league like club volleyball was until like seeing how far other girls travel. Like we had a girl on our team, I want to say my senior and junior year of high school that she was actually homeschooled and lived in California and flew out here for weeks at a time to come train with us and be in our team.
Wow. So that
Yeah.
must have been a prestigious program.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the top clubs in the nation and I would not be the volleyball player I am right now without going there.
Well, I hope whoever that athlete that you're talking about, I hope it worked out for them and
Oh
they're
yeah.
playing in college as well.
Yes, yes, she is. And it was also just like a really cool experience for us to it was an eye-opening thing for me being like how grateful I am to I mean like for in my mind like I would be like oh like a 15-minute drive every day but like in my head it made me a lot more grateful for the opportunity that I have this amazing club that's relatively like close to me or even in the same state as me like hearing some of these girls traveling from out of state to be on this team.
Right. So before you made it to the college level, how much time outside of practice did you put towards your game?
I would say a lot. I would say a lot. And a lot of it also is like the times that I would, like if I'm already up there, like I go straight from school, drive up there. I also am a very like schedule early bird kind of person. So I'd probably get to practice like, oh gosh, at least like a little bit over an hour every day and get some extra reps in beforehand. And then I'd stay after some days to work on some skills too. And that was just the volleyball side of it. I was doing lots of like jumping training, like Vertimax kind of stuff, I think 2 times a week, just
Okay.
cause, in my position, again, like for the Big Ten, the league where I like the conference that I use in, just the height of some of the girls in this conference that are in my position, I am definitely on the smaller side. So I knew that going into college, and I really wanted to like focus on getting stronger and building muscle and jumping higher before I got here to try to help that transition a little bit.
Okay. No, that sounds good. That sounds real good. So when did the recruiting process heat up for you when you were in high school?
Um, I'm trying to think because I don't know how it is with other sports. 'Cause the rules changed for volleyball because I want to say right before I got in high school because it used to be people could get recruited like when they were in eighth grade and stuff, you know. But the rules changed when I was going into my freshman year of high school, where I think it was the summer of your sophomore year of high school. Coaches, like you and coaches could contact you back. So I remember like my freshman year of high school, that summer was when I went to this more prestigious volleyball club and I really kind of got on my game of just sending emails to college coaches of my film. And I want to say stuff really picked up the day that, like the first day they could reach out to us in June,
Oh,
summer after my sophomore year.
Now before that, did you feel that you were going to be a Division I athlete, or you did not know until you were contacted by D1 schools?
I I'm a big believer in if I believe I can do something, there's nothing that can stop me from doing it. So honestly, like the second that I decided I wanted to play just volleyball, like before high school, I was kind of bought all into it, and I kind of just had this mindset where like my hard work was going to pay off, and that I could envision myself playing D1 volleyball. I also did have like some like not backdoor situations, but just like being mutual friends with some college coaches and stuff, like hearing that some people might be interested in me, which also kind of gave me the confidence that I could play Division I volleyball as well.
Right, right. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So how many of you do you remember of your official visits that you took outside of IU, obviously?
How many did I take?
Yeah, where did you go outside of IU?
Um, oh gosh, I went to a decent amount of places. I remember I went over to Morehead State, EKU. I really did not. Well, it's actually interesting because visit wise, this is fun, kind of ironic because it's kind of the opposite of what I just said at the beginning of being close to family. I originally wanted to get out of the state of Indiana because I'm like, there's not much going on here. Like, all I wanted was just a new start. Like, I wanted to get out of Indiana, right? Like, I've grown up in Fishers, Indiana my whole life. Not much is going on there. Like, but so like originally I was purposely reaching out to like schools that were like outside of the state of Indiana, you know? So I went on those visits. And I want to say, I didn't really go on too many until IU reached out to me, and then I went on a visit here, and I absolutely fell in love with it. And I was like, there's no way I'm actually going to go to school in Indiana and stay in Indiana, right?
Right.
Which again is crazy ironic saying it now because like I absolutely love it here. Like I can't imagine it any other way. But so originally all the schools I was talking to and going on visits were just schools not even in the state of Indiana.
Okay. So now let's talk about Indiana. So did they jump in late in the process, or when did they actually start contacting you?
So it's actually interesting. So I reached out to a lot of like schools again, like prior to the day that coaches could contact us.
Right.
So, just like showing my interest in school so that when that day hit, they could respond to me and I could just kind of get an early start on getting like building a connection with coaches.
Right.
And I never reached out to IU because again, in my head, I'm like, I don't want to go I don't want to go somewhere where like a lot of people from my high school are going to go to school. I don't want to stay in Indiana, So in my head, I didn't really like think about IU because it didn't align with the other things I wanted in college and, with just being close to home. So it was also interesting because I played on the same club team since I played up on a 18s team when I was 16. So
Hmm.
I was on that 18s team for 3 years, and within the span of 3 years, three girls on that team were committed to IU. So I lost these club tournaments. The IU coaches like were always on my court. So like watching the girls that they already had like committed and coming into IU. So
Right.
like when I was a sophomore, like there were two girls committed on my team. So like they were always watching us. And so like the IU coaches kind of saw my progression as a high schooler from 16 to 18 just by watching being around my court because they had girls on my team that were going there. So they've kind of seen my game grow over those couple of years, and then they reached out to me. I want to say, my a little bit like second semester of my junior year, they reached out to me, and then I kind of was like, oh, like I don't know why I ever, like never really reached out to them because I guess like I wanted to get out of Indiana, but then like when I came on my visit, I realized like that there are way more things that IU had that outweigh the fact that that I was in the state of Indiana.
Right. Okay. So now you did say earlier you fell in love with it. So I want to ask you about that. So what made you fall in love with the University of Indiana?
Um, I'm a big people person. People mean a lot to me, and especially like if I'm going somewhere, like my connection with who's going to be at that place is important to me. And the second that I like met the coaching staff and also the girls in the team and the support staff, I felt like almost like family. Like I felt so comfortable with them, and that was a feeling that I didn't know I like really wanted until I had that feeling, and I'm like, this just feels right. Like it just felt right from the people, and then also the campus is absolutely beautiful, so that also has definitely helped.
Okay. And what about, do you have any, highlights that you want to discuss from your freshman year at IU? Because currently right now it is volleyball season, correct?
Um, it's our spring season right now, so
Spring
our
season.
season. Yeah, yeah.
Right, right. So it's spring, I'm sorry, it's spring season right now. So any highlights from your freshman season?
Highlights with
Just anything, any accomplishments, just anything that you want to talk about from your first year, playing at a D1 level.
first year. I'm trying to think. First year. I was in actually kind of a not an interesting situation, but I knew coming in my position specifically, there were two girls ahead of me. One was a senior, one was a fifth year senior, and both were actually girls that I really look up to, like just looked up to as players, even like in high school since they were a good amount older than me. So freshman year, I actually learned a lot about the game of volleyball just from watching them a lot and being able to like play against them. And it was so nice having like people in my own position like genuinely want to help me in my game. I feel like you see a
Right.
lot of days like people that are in your position, like it's very like they don't want to help you. It's super competitive, which obviously is going to be competitive, but it's like people will be hostile towards each other because they want that position, like and the playing time. But it was so like refreshing having these amazing girls in front of me that genuinely like when I asked questions helped me and like wanted to get me to be at the top of my game, which I really appreciate looking back at it.
Right, I agree because I was actually going to ask you about that. How did you feel about having a positive mentor? Because in competitive sports, right, like someone wants to play. Usually someone on your
Mm.
team wants your minute. So I think that's great. I mean, do you think it's important for athletes when they get to the college level to have a mentor?
Yeah, I think it's just like super important to like I guess just be willing to take feedback from other people on the court. Like it's such a weird concept, like especially with fifth years now, like nowadays, because like I'm like there's some girls that like they'll come in like they'll be only 17 and then they'll be like a 22-year-old on the same team. You know what I mean? And like they could both be fighting for the same position. Like it's just such an interesting concept nowadays too with the extra years. But I feel like it's like you kind of have you get to choose the way that you look on certain situations, and I could have easily been like giving up and being like, they're these two, you know what I mean? Like kids have been here forever ahead of me. Like I'm just going to stay in my lane, whatever. But at the end of the day, like I generally became so much better volleyball person and so much better athlete, like coachability wise through that experience and having them on my side.
Right. No, I think that's great. So, just want to end it on something a little bit light here. How is the campus life at IU?
Oh, it's amazing. I absolutely love it. It's super fun too, because I feel like people always say like before you go to college, especially like when like in athletics, like you're with your team 24/7, but like genuinely you are with those people and your teammates all the time. So I'm so lucky to have built such a great relationship with everybody on our team to where like we'll go grab dinner after just having a 3 hour long practice and stuff. We'll go hang out with friends on like a Saturday night after just, practicing all week. So I'm also like, it's super grateful to be able to have like a great group of girls to go do all the fun things that are here at IU's campus.
Right. No, that sounds great. So we like to give the last word. If you have any advice or, recruiting advice, volleyball advice, or life advice for the players that are coming behind you, we would love to hear that.
Yeah, I definitely say, and this is one of my favorite quotes. It's actually my lock screen on my phone, I think my iPad and my laptop. It's that, consistency is more important than perfection. And that's something I actually like that was probably my lock screen on my phone when I was getting recruited. Like to this day, it's on my lock screen. It's helped me through a lot of things, like sports wise, life wise, recruiting wise, because it just kind of helped calm my mind. That as long as I keep going hard, keep grinding, keep being consistent with the things day in and day out, I can truly do whatever I dream to do. And everything that I have to do does not have to be perfect. It's really just in the consistency of the way that I do things.
Ava, thank you for taking the time. We know you are super busy as a student athlete. Thank you for coming on. We really do appreciate it. Episode 11 is now in the books. Thanks again to Ava to come on the show. We really do appreciate it. Having a player of her caliber, Division One at the University of Indiana, coming onto the show. We really do appreciate it because there's a lot of athletes out there that are listening and that want that advice to try to get to where Ava is. So thanks again, Ava, and we wish you the best. And once again, thank you for all the support. Please continue to listen. Please tell at least one person about the podcast. Follow us on Apple and Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks again and see you soon.
Get to college athletics, got a story to tell. Coach Wilson on the mic, making dreams swell. From 7 miles in the D to athletes worldwide, talking journey, struggles, hustle, and pride. Get to college athletics, yeah, you ain't making it known. Every journey, every climb, they're never alone. Coach Wilson in the chair, straight from Detroit streets, bringing that 7 mile fire, no defeat.